Now, something that's a bit more serious that we need to think about. A question I would like to ask, and I want all of us to ask ourselves, as believers in the Holy Prophet, as believers in the Ahlul Bayt. If you would want to describe the Holy Prophet to people and say he's the best person on the face of the earth, what would you say to make them feel that, wow, this is the best person on the face of the earth? What did the Holy Prophet accomplish? What is it that he did that no one else has done? No one else could have done. It's only the Holy Prophet ﷺ that was able to do. What is it? Are you proud of believing in this Prophet? Why are you proud of this Prophet? What makes you proud? What do you know of him? Seriously. Not just because we believe. What are you going to tell him? He's a very righteous man. What are you going to say? He's very truthful. He had good akhlaq. What did he do? Sometimes the descriptions we give, or the understanding that we have of the Holy Prophet is really an ordinary person. Joe Average on the street can have some of those qualities. Sometimes with some of these descriptions, then people get confused. Like, okay, if the Holy Prophet was that, and you say, oh, this is great, this quality is great, and so on and so forth, well, I see that in some non-Muslims more than I see it in Muslims. What is it? What is it that the Holy Prophet did? What is it that each of the Imams has done? I think this is a very serious question we need to ask. Somebody once asked me this question, and I think it's a very serious question. I've mentioned this before. You might have, if you've listened to other lectures, you might have heard this. The person asked it, said, look, I want to present Imam al-Hussein. She was asking this about Imam al-Hussein. I want to present and describe Imam al-Hussein and his companions as heroes to children. But I'm struggling because everything that we have about Imam al-Hussein and his companions is they got killed. What type of a heroic image can I give to people of that? What is it? What can I? How can I describe in a way where the person would feel proud to believe in this person, to consider that person a role model? What is it that the Holy Prophet has? What did he do? Now, there are many different things that can be said, or should be said, if we even understand. That's another thing. Certain aspects of the Holy Prophet or the Ahlul Bayt, even if they're said, we don't have the capacity to really understand what that is. And that's why we're going to be like, oh, really? Great. Doesn't really mean much to me. Okay? We need to consider that. But something that can be understood by people. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the tawfiq to be able to explain this that I have in mind about the Holy Prophet. Recite a salawat. The Holy Prophet of Islam, over the course of 23 years, was able to change one of the most uncivilized, ignorant societies in the world as the foundation for a global revolution that is going to change the entire globe for the best. This was in a nutshell. Okay, I want to talk about this and maybe expand it a bit, so we can have a better understanding of it. The first thing is understanding the time, where the Holy Prophet was, and then we'll understand what the work he did. Okay. Where did the Holy Prophet live? If you look at that time, there were a few civilizations that were considered superpowers, that were considered, those nations were considered civilized. In that region at least, there were two major ones. One was in the west, the Roman Empire. The other was in the east, the Persian Empire. Then you had some offshoots of these empires. In Africa, you had two other, if we can call them countries these days, that were offshoots of the Roman Empire, in Egypt and in what in Arabic they refer to as Habasha. Okay. These were the ones on the west. On the east you have the Persian Empire, and then an offshoot of the Persian Empire is in Yemen, according to some of the accounts that we have. At that time at least parts of Yemen, I can say for sure, were offshoots of the Persian Empire. They were governed by nobility from the Persian Empire that was appointed by the Persian Emperor. Okay. These were the civilizations that were considered civilized, with all the problems they had, which it'll take sessions to talk about all the problems that these civilizations had. For example, just some examples to understand. In the Persian Empire, one of the things that was very common was marrying maharim. Okay. Al-ayadu billah, God forbid, son marrying their own mother or their own sister. This was something that was very common. The treatment of people of other races within the Persian Empire, within the Roman Empire, racism was something that was very common. These civilized parts of the world, they had many problems. These were just a couple, and some of them were common in all of them. As I said, in the Roman Empire, you have a lot of racism. Some of the things that we can understand today, for example, which is even in the Western world today, something which is very recent. The rights that are given to women. These rights were introduced very recently, in the 20th century, some of them. Before that, these rights didn't exist. The right to vote, to be an active part of the political system that runs a country, it was not heard of. It's unheard of previously. Okay. Even in ancient Greece, that they say there was this democracy, slaves were not part of that. They were not able to have a say. These civilized parts of the world had many, many serious problems with them. Okay? Now you could imagine what happens in the uncivilized part of the world. I don't know if you've ever seen any clips. You can maybe search it online on YouTube, you'll find them as well. I don't know if we have them today. The clips I've seen, the documentaries I've seen, seemed a bit old. Maybe back in the 80s, 70s, maybe 90s. I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't see a date on that. But certain parts of the world, people still live or lived at that time as very uncivilized people. When you see that, you kind of start understanding what the Jahiliyyat al-Ula, the Holy Quran talks about the society that the Holy Prophet came to, means. very violent people. Killing is very easy. Have you imagined, I see we have young children here. Can you even for a second, for just a second even, imagine burying your daughter alive? Can you even imagine that? Reading that makes you shiver. Reading the fact that these men, when the baby is just born, would take that baby girl and bury it alive. Do we really get how violent that is? How savage that is? People had children. They had economic problems. They couldn't support the children. What's the solution? Kill the child. Okay? Very easily. The solution to financial difficulties, kill the children. I can't picture it. I'll go nuts if I picture really a dad, a father killing their own child. A mother killing their own child for such ridiculous reasons. They would sacrifice people, kill people. You've read this in history. These are savage parts of the world. They would sacrifice people for idols. Kill very easily for ridiculous reasons. Recite a salawat, please. Women were treated as property. They were inherited. Do we really understand this? Okay. Worst of all, this is really, we don't understand this as being worst of all, but this is really worst of all. Having an ideology, in a world view of the world that they live in, that's based on really nothing. Believing that this idol that you have created by your own hand, you can sacrifice a human being for this idol that you've made with wood. Okay. You yourself have made with wood. Can you imagine that? Can we imagine that? Ignorance upon ignorance upon ignorance. The Holy Prophet comes in this society, that these were just simply a few of the examples of how savage these people were. Over the course of 23 years, the Holy Prophet makes the same people a people with an akhlaq. Recite salawat, please. With an akhlaq that, with all the criticism we have of what happened after the Holy Prophet, we criticize what happens. We don't agree with what took place, or some of what took place after the Holy Prophet. That's very clear. But with all of that, brothers and sisters, a fact that a lot of us are unaware of just because of the feelings we have towards people who did not recognize the imamah, the wilayah of the Ahlul Bayt, we don't recognize this truth of history. We should be fair. If we don't recognize this fact, brothers and sisters, we are not recognizing the work of the Holy Prophet. Okay? Because what I'm about to describe is the effect of the work of the Holy Prophet. It's not something that you can attribute to any of the khulafa. It's the result of what the Holy Prophet did. These savage people, that brother would kill brother or father for ridiculous reasons, developed an akhlaq over the course of a teaching of 23 years. The culture of these people were changed to where these people, when they went to other regions as jihad to take over, to bring Islam to them, quickly the majority of the people would welcome them. Did you know that? A lot of times when the Muslim army went to, let's say, Persia, okay, the regular people would welcome them. They didn't fight, they welcomed them. Why do you think they welcomed them? They're coming in as invaders. Why did they welcome them? This is fact of history. Because of the akhlaq of these people. Because of the way they would treat other people. Recite salawat, please. Over the course of 23 years, I'll mention a few areas that the Holy Prophet just changed completely. One is with regards to ideology. The ideology that these people had about the world, about arbab, about lords, about these idols, about the angels. This ideology that they had very strong passion towards. They were very passionate about. The Holy Prophet changed this ideology from that region completely over the course of 23 years. I don't know if we really understand and we feel what this actually means. Have you ever tried changing the ideology of one person? Have you ever tried that? Have you ever had a debate with someone that passionately believes in another ideology? Have you had a discussion with them? How many people have you been able to change their ideology? The roots of their ideology, the way they see life. Have you been able to do that? How many? I don't think I've been able to do one person, to change the ideology of one person. Yeah, if they're Muslim, they're Shia, they have this misunderstanding about a certain hukm, I tell them, no, here it is in the book. I can change their ideology. Here's the hadith. You already believe in the Ahlul Bayt. You've been told one thing, I tell you, no, it's here. The hadith says, this is what the Imam said. But the foundations of your thought, it's not easy. Especially towards things that you hold very dear. Look, if you passionately, just imagine this, if you passionately believe in something and somebody wants to come and change that, challenge that ideology of yours. Or if you want to challenge their ideology. Sometimes, just to give you a feeling of what I'm trying to get to so we can understand what the Holy Prophet has done. Okay. Sometimes when someone like myself wants to address a group of believers who love the Ahlul Bayt and wants to correct a certain belief that the believers have towards the Ahlul Bayt, that the believers hold dearly and they're passionate about, we think twice about mentioning that. To an audience of 100, 200, 300, 400, there's pushback. People don't want to accept. You heard one thing your entire life, your father, your uncles, your grandparents, everybody around you has always said this, you've cried for it. Now this sheikh is coming and saying, no, that's not true. Okay. Will you accept that? There's examples in my mind. I'm afraid to say them. Okay? I'm afraid to say them. If you want to change the ideology of a people, not a person, a people, an ideology that they hold very dearly, they're very passionate about, not an ideology that they're not passionate about. If they're not passionate about it, it's not too difficult. They saw things one way, you say, no, it's not correct, it's this way. It's like, okay. They see the evidence, but they're passionate about it. You want to change that? The Holy Prophet changed an entire nation. Okay. Over the course of 23 years, actually less than 23 years. By the end of it, by the end of the 23 years, the Holy Prophet had much of Arabia changed. Okay. This is one thing that I hope we've been able to just understand just a bit. Okay. Because I'm sure we haven't fully understood what this means. If you don't really try to do it, you're not going to understand it. The reason why a lot of us understand, or most of us, or all of us understand, when they say Amirul Mu'mineen picked up the gate of Khaybar, we're like, wow. Well, it's because we understand, sort of, with that gate, the sizes of it, and lifting something a lot smaller than that would mean. And when you hear, he says, he lifted that, like, wow. But when you say the Holy Prophet changed the ideology of a people that were so passionate about this ideology, because I haven't been involved in changing people's ideology, I don't really understand what that means. If you try it, if you try to change people's direction in life, you'll start to realize how difficult it is. How difficult it is. When Imam Khomeini wanted to change the Iranian people to set up an Islamic government, it took him 15 years to get the people ready. 15 years to get what people ready? People that were already believers in Islam, people that were already believers in the Ahlul Bayt, people that were already listening to the Marja'iyya, listening to the ulama. 15 years. The Holy Prophet changed the belief system of that nation, and that was only the beginning. He did it in a way that these people were able to change the belief system of other people. Okay. Over the course of 23 years. That is an accomplishment. Okay. That's a serious accomplishment.